What's going on about this Afro think tank? Beautiful white older lady explains how the white gaze has been used as the default worldview. All right, and she's gonna explain what the white gaze is. And I appreciate, like, these are the type of white folks I like. These are the light skinned ones, huh? The light skin, the melanin is popping in the brain for these ones, okay? And they ain't on the outside, but it's popping in the brain. Listen, white folks have convinced the whole world to view the world from a white perspective. Everything that we view, even me, I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. We view everything from a white perspective, meaning everything that we think it's possible for us to do, we constrain ourselves under the rules and regulations that white society has created, under the moral guidelines, which is the morality part is just kind of like, whew, right? Under the moral guidelines of white society, right? That's why a lot of POCs and black people have not been able to express themselves fully and be creative and think outside the box. You see, the box that you are in is that white box. The box that you live in is a white box. You stress out because the constraints of the white box stops you from flexing, stops you from stretching, stop you from using your creativity in order to benefit yourself economically or socially on the planet. I'm telling you. And once you get yourself outside of that white box and realize that there are more options than what white people in their short history has shown you, then you will be much better for it. You have a much more fulfilling life because you know that it's not just, you don't have, your options are not just A, B, C, and D, all of the above. Your options all go all the way to Z. And then sometimes you gotta, now I know my ABCs, gotta go past that shit. You know what I'm saying? And you can do all these things. It's just that we got to think. That's why I have an Afrocentric mind. I've been building my Afrocentric point of view. I've been building it over years, seeing things from a different perspective, seeing relationships, seeing business, seeing social cohesion between two people. I've been seeing it from an African perspective. You see, the American perspective, to give you an example, says hustle, 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 work, 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 money, 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 work, 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 money, 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 work, 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 money, 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 work, work, more, 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 money, 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 work, 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 bills, bitch, right? That's America, right? But there's other places where the priority is to sit under the tree, relax, and philosophize about, why that cloud looks like that and another cloud look like that. Some people sit in a tree and have whole conversations with their neighbor for hours. It may seem like there's no, you're not being productive, but you are. We come down here and we're having this life. We're supposed to experience this life. We're supposed to explore every aspect of this life. We're supposed to stop and smell every rose if we choose to. And if we want to spend a month looking at that rose, trying to break it down and see how that rose works, we should be able to do so. It's our life. And we should have the time, the space to do so. We should have the ability to do so, but we can't because we got to go to fucking work, right? And that is a lot of the problem. The slavery capitalistic system that the white people have created has convinced us that this is the only way human beings can live. Even though Hollywood and the creative minds of the most creative people in our society has shown you we can pretend like we can make a better world in a pretend world than we do in the reality. So if we can manifest in our minds a better world and put that in a movie or put that in a TV show, then why can't we put that in real life? If we can get actors to pretend in a better world and pretend to act better using morality, why do we gotta act to do that when we can actually do it in real life? If we can make it happen on film, we can make it happen in real life. Right? But we gotta think outside that white box. Anyway, I'm gonna let this sweet, beautiful, old, light-skinned white lady educate us a little bit on, viewing things from a white point of view and how we got to get out of that. All right, we all need to contribute to the parameters, the matrix in which we live in, so we all can operate effectively. We all can have happy, quality lives. We can all spend the short bit of time we have down here, enjoying life. All of us. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Is Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
The white gaze is the assumption that white perspectives are the default way to see and understand the world, while all other perspectives are treated as secondary or even suspect. I'm not an expert on racism, but I have BS and MS degrees in behavior analysis and spend my time researching why white people are given preference in all things America. I put references in my video notes so we can learn about this together. You can feel it before you can name it. It's not just about who is looking. It is about whose perspective defines reality. It shows up in what gets centered, what gets believed, and what gets dismissed. It decides whose pain is viewed as credible and whose is questioned. It shapes what stories get told and how they get told. If a Black person describes racism and a white person says, I just don't see it, the white gaze is winning, not because it proved anything, but because it positioned white perception as the standard and blew off the Black perspective. From a behavior analytic lens, this is learned behavior. It's been reinforced over time. White people are rewarded for trusting their own interpretation, even in areas where we lack lived experience. That reinforcement history builds confidence without accuracy. It also teaches white people to look at the world without seeing the systems that benefit them. That absence of awareness is maintained because it is comfortable for us. Meanwhile, people outside that white gaze have to constantly be adjusting, code switching, monitoring, anticipating reactions. That's not just effort, that is cost. So the white gaze is not just about looking at the world, it's about power. It determines whose version of reality gets to stand. Once you see it, you start to notice just how often it quietly organizes everything. Get curious. Lord, we need your peace. Lord, we need your joy. And the doors of the church are open.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.